Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We are having so many technical difficulties. I have no idea where this show is going to show up. So, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Check the contest button. That's where all the free stuff is. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Hive, and Blue Sky. Go find us. You may close this browser. I don't know why it would tell me that. That's so bizarre. See, now I can't even get into my... Okay. I have no idea what's happening. Let me try a new window. Oh, my goodness. I can't
Are
even...
we still live or
we are live.
Okay.
You
just stopped talking, so I wasn't sure.
No, because I can't open a new window. I can't do anything. Let me try this way. See if this works. I have no idea what's going to show up.
You may see a complete breakdown of this show, and it's just sign off and walk away.
No, okay, it's working.
I'm just preparing the audience for this.
This is a horrible mess. That's basically what's happening.
Specific chaos.
You know how technology is supposed to make your life better, and it doesn't.
Well, it never has.
It's just, it's dumb.
It definitely doesn't do wonders for a marriage.
No, it doesn't.
My parents almost got divorced over a VCR.
And how many computers have your parents gone through?
There's too many to count. They're not allowed to have a computer.
So many.
Can we pull the table in?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I never pulled it in, even though I asked you 3 times.
Oh, I wasn't ready yet. I had to unplug some plugs. Okay, I'm sharing. I'm telling everyone, come watch the show. Oh, my gosh. What a disaster.
We're waiting for people to join. We're waiting for whatever's going on her side of the table.
I'm done.
I don't know.
Okay, it worked. We're going to go. We're going to talk about movies. Let's just get to it. I'm starting here. I added some things.
You're doing what?
I'm starting right here, and I added some things to the list. So I'm going to talk about the new film, technically, short film, based on the new album of Jennifer Lopez called This Is Me
Is it
Now.
short?
It's an hour-long film.
Oh.
And it's basically several videos put together into a continuous story, which is the story of the album itself. So it's the story of the songs. It's actually a journey. It takes us through a musical journey and a video journey of her relationships and her love life. And, you know, I think if you're a fan of Jennifer Lopez, you'll enjoy it. I think if you have been one of those people that's followed her ups and downs, it'll bring some clarity and insight into her life and relationships. I think the overwhelming feeling I had was that she's just one of those people that honestly does believe in love and that there is someone out there for her. And she does mention in the movie, she's like, I know I've been married like 3 times in 10 years. I get it, but I still believe in love.
Had you been married like 8 times?
She's only been married like 4. I think Ben's number 4.
No, because Ben is twice.
Was it twice? They were never married.
I'm pretty sure they got married the first time. Did they not?
This is the only time they got married.
Okay, so there's Ben. Was it Mark? Was she married to Mark Anthony?
And then before that was
the baseball player, the guy that she's just was with, or football, whatever he was.
The baseball guy, Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Then there was the dancer.
Okay, there was somebody else. I thought.
Was there? Oh, maybe.
I thought.
You know what? This is like one of our friends who's like, that one doesn't count.
Yeah.
They've also been married five times.
They're married 5 times, but they say, well, the first one doesn't count. I'm like, that's not how this works, man.
It says 4. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was another one that I
don't remember. You know what?
I don't really care.
I know you don't care about this. I watched it on my own.
I like Jennifer Lopez before the J-Lo era because
you're old school Jennifer Lopez.
Yes, I liked her as an actress back in the day, and I thought she was pretty, and I thought she was a good actress, and like my favorite performance of hers ever is from U-Turn, and then she turned to J-Lo, and it turned into this ridiculous nonsense.
Jenny from the Block.
Yeah, I thought that whole era was, and I'm not talking about her music or anything. I don't like it. I just don't care. It's just, I think it that happens to a lot of the people when they get in there and they kind of create a new persona, which more power to people. If they're successful and they can pull off multiple things, then awesome. I think it then changes the persona of the other stuff, so the performances change, and I don't know. She's done good stuff. I'm not going to say.
I think my favorite Jennifer Lopez movie is
U-Turn is probably not a good representation of her because she's not a star of that movie.
Well, I posted that's your favorite. My favorite is the what's the one with the weird stuff and
The Cell.
I'm going to post a link to that. That's my favorite Jennifer Lopez movie just because it's so trippy. And I went back and watched it. Last year I did a whole J-Lo movie marathon. And I think this is one of my favorites of hers. So I'm a Jennifer Lopez fan. I got I didn't buy the albums because I didn't have money back in the day.
I thought you did.
I bought, I
You
think,
stole them?
on the 6 and
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about
Jenny
now.
from the Block.
Okay.
From Living Color on the 6, J-Lo hits, headline hit, all those. Anyways, I think
know
the
anything you're
funnest
talking about
thing
right
about
now.
the whole movie, I'm singing the song. She goes
Oh,
through
is that
her
what that
albums.
is? Okay, I don't know.
You get a lot of really good guest appearances in this, and it's a lot of fun.
So is this just the new album, or is
It's
this
just the
the
new
songs?
album.
It's not
It's
like
just the songs from the new
Okay.
album. This Is Me Now. And it follows us. It's a really interesting musical journey. I think I was telling you, I think one of the things, I know we have to market it like this is amazing, the first fresh thing ever, but so many artists have done this.
everything come out, they're like, this is the most unique thing. It's never been
Yes.
done before. And then we see 3 other things that were done the same way, and
It's like,
and
yeah,
a variation of it. But they can get away with it because
it is unique.
it's
to them.
not the same as the other person's thing, hence it's not been
It's
done
theirs.
this way. So
Of
dumb.
course, there's a lot of dancing. I do commend her because she is a really good dancer. I mean, that's what she's most known for, and she does a lot of good variety of
She the one that was
dancing,
one of the dancers on
she was a fly
in
girl.
Living Color?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was the song from Living Color to On the 6th.
I don't know what you're talking about. You keep
Okay.
saying this is like it's gonna help.
I'm still Jenny from the Block.
Okay.
You need to go listen to the
I know
lyrics
that
to
I
Jenny on
don't
the
care
Block.
about the lyrics. I
Okay.
know the hook, and I don't care about that either. What's happening?
And
Oh, that's a
I'm
dog. I thought that was you.
with Fat Joe. And guess what? Fat Joe's in this, and Fat Joe
I thought
isn't
it
fat
was-
anymore.
I thought it was your jacket touching me because you're wearing
My
this fuzzy,
Ewok.
and I didn't
My
realize it
Ewok.
was Vader's face. Up
It's a
here.
sweet dog.
I don't know what
It's a
he's
sweet
doing.
baby dog. Anyways, I thought it was really good. Lots of great guest star appearances. It's about an hour, so you can take time to watch it, and it's exclusive right now on. Oh no!
Is it Amazon?
I think it is on Prime. Where to watch?
Prime, I
This
think.
Is Me Now.
Prime, or is it?
It's on Prime Video,
Okay.
so check it out.
All right.
Next on the list is another little film we watched this week together. It's Welcome Home, Franklin. It's a new Peanuts movie. It's also a short film, about what, 45
Yeah,
minutes?
it's just like a short special. Like so,
Yeah.
Apple TV Plus has become the home for the Peanuts.
The Peanut. Oh,
So they have
many
all
things.
kinds of like some of the old stuff, I believe, but they have tons of new
like
TV
they had-
shows,
during
specials.
COVID. They had the Snoopy astronaut.
Yeah,
Snoopy
I
Goes
think
to
they're
Space
regularly
series.
delivering
It was
new
really nice.
specials. But this is the first time, of my knowledge, that they've had one that was focused on the little black kid Franklin,
There you go.
which I think is a cool. I think it was Peanuts were a lot ahead of their time on a lot of that kind of stuff, but I think this was kind of an interesting way to bring them and deal with some of that kind of being the new kid, but also the race stuff. There's even a joke in it
Yeah.
when he's looking around in this town. It's all white kids.
Yeah. He's
He's
like
some noticing a lack of color or
he's like,
something.
wow. Yeah. It's like everybody looks the same.
But it's not in your
here.
face about race.
No,
That's
it's
what
not
I thought
even
was
about
clever. It was
it.
really more about friendship and finding your place. And his deal is not so much dealing with this color, even though that's part of it. It's dealing with the kid that has to move all the time and not being able to really see
And
that
I didn't even
relationship.
know, like, we have a backstory. I didn't know if we ever had a
I
backstory
don't know
for
if we had.
Franklin,
Most
but
of
his
them-
dad's in the military, so he's been moving around a lot.
I'm wondering, because I was never a huge Peanuts fan,
Mm.
but I'm wondering if, like, when they introduced him into the Peanuts strips and the comics and whatever, if it was like a what-off line. He was the
Mm.
new kid. My dad's in the military, and we moved here now. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or if it was something created for this. If anybody's a huge fan, let us know.
Yeah, we'll find out.
But it's really it didn't bog itself down, feeling the need to focus on the other characters as well. Even though Charlie Brown obviously has a major player because he's Franklin's friend, you get just enough Snoopy to not become the Snoopy show, and little snippets of the other characters while really keeping the focus on Franklin.
Mm-hmm. It says his first appearance. In his first appearance, he met Charlie Brown at the beach. Okay. Franklin's father was in Vietnam, so that's the time period of the original
This is
strip.
the
But
newer-
now it's just saying, you know, and then we also find out, I didn't realize Charlie Brown's dad had been in the military too, but now he settled down in town and he's a barber. So I thought it was interesting. I'm trying to see, I wonder if they had any backlash of having back then a little black kid be a main character in this strip, you know. But anyways, I like it. I thought it was so cute. I mean, I was crying. I was like, this is so sweet, you know, because it is difficult, first of all, to make friends when you're new the kid in town, and then he's just trying to figure out who everyone is, and he's following his grandpa's rules of like always smile, always start with a joke, always do whatever. And he's realizing
it sounds like his grandfather gave him the rules on how to
this.
survive in business, not make friends. But that's probably the same thing in that different era of people. You know, it's like you treat people, but it's also there's an underlining thing, and I don't know if you really caught it in relation to that nature of always smile, always tell a joke, whatever this is. It's almost the description too of how to an African American person talk to a white person.
Yes,
is entertain, be respectful. You know, all those kind of tropes that in that olden era of how it was kind of looked at. Entertain me, work for me, you respect me. That's kind of what I don't know if it was intentional. Yeah, that's kind of what I got from it. And being his grandfather, that would make sense. That he wasn't telling him, look, you're black and you have to do this, but his mentality and what he had to go through would be that. And I could be I could be reading super deep into this in my own.
No, but I think it's true because generational trauma molds how you proceed in life. So like I think I've told you this, my grandma, because of what she went through the time of segregation.
My grandma and your grandma sitting by the fire.
My grandma was born in like 1914 or whatever. She
Lord.
I know she died when she was 95, but so she
bring the room down.
No, but she was one of those people that was like, you always dress nice so they know you're not robbing the store. I mean, you know, it's random things like don't put your hands out, keep your hands in your pocket, you know, or don't look people in the eye. If they talk to you, say yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And it was very whatever. And then my mom is like a little bit like that too, but she's like, no, we belong here. We're from here. And then my dad, who's very much like the man, was like, you fight for whatever, you're worthy of whatever. So you have these generational things that
which is funny because your dad is like can't fight.
Well, no,
I'm just saying he's the most. I always find it funny. You get the people that cannot fight end up being the ones that we're going to fight this and fight this. But if they had to come to the physical altercation, they're going to be the first one that lost.
I know. Okay, I did find it. I knew this had happened and I found it. So Charles Schultz said that he received letters following the assassination of Martin Luther King asking why he had not included up until this time a black character. And he's like, I thought about it several times, but I was afraid of patronizing the African community. He's like, I didn't want it to feel like I'm doing it just because of that. But he did introduce
it. He's also was a Jewish person, so he probably dealt with the Auschwitz stuff and all that kind of thing.
So he said,
I don't know if him himself.
That once he did introduce the character, that later on he would talk to people and they would be like, oh, I don't mind there being a black character, but they shouldn't be in school together. And I saw you draw them in school together. And he was sitting by Peppermint Patty and Charlie Brown. They shouldn't be in school together because we're still in segregation, you know? And he's like, it shouldn't matter. But I just like, please don't show them sitting in school together. And I was like, wow, they told him that? But anyways, I just thought it was cool.
That was an era too of outside of the horrible racism of it all, that even the white people that were trying to not be racist and try to be accepting are still racist because they still understood there's a certain way things should be. I'm not racist and I accept you, but you still need to drink from the proper water fountain. You still need to be sitting in the right place in the bus. You know, and those are people, that's something I've always coined, the unintentional racism, is you're going by the flow of the societal mentality without being hateful, or you're saying things that's unintentionally racist, even when you mean well. You know, like there's a joke, a goofy story that we've told here before about the one lady that gave you a gift for my class, whatever, that was unintentionally. She wasn't trying to be that, but it come off as that, you know.
Right.
Anyway.
Can we talk about that other movie, the one we watched? I didn't add it here, the musical.
The one last night? We could, but I would say wait until it's the physical release.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So check it out.
Like the remake thing?
Yes. Okay. Apple TV Plus has so many good things, and I think this is like a great section. You can just start and watch it with your kids.
If you're a Charlie Brown fan, I don't know if this was received well. Totally not related, but when they did the CGI Peanuts movie, I really liked that movie. I went and saw it. Not a bit of a fan. I liked it. So if you haven't seen the Peanuts movie, watch it as well.
But I also recommend Snoopy in Space. It's so fun. He's an astronaut.
Ridiculous show.
So it's a cute little series.
Snoopy's existence is ridiculous.
All right. Next, Hard Left. Tell me about Griselda.
Griselda is a new Netflix. I don't know if it's going to be classified as a series or a mini series because I don't think we're getting.
They have it a limited
another series. Yeah, so doesn't touch on a lot of her stuff, but its success, I could see them going back, minding the well for a little bit more. Anyway, it's called Griselda. It's about I just went blank. Griselda Blanco, who was this lady who became basically this massive, insanely dangerous drug dealer. And Sofia Vergara, who looks nothing like her, but I give them props because they did do some makeup to her face. Did you see the video with her and Kelly Clarkson?
No.
Kelly Clarkson was talking to her about how they didn't change your face that much. They added a nose. Sofia Vergara was like, "Shut up! They added this and this. That's not how I look." You know, like if I understood what she was saying, and she did that. They tried to sell it like she was mad at her, but I don't think she was. But she still looks like Sofia Vergara, so it's a little hard to get to that aspect, especially if you've never seen what Griselda Blanco looks like. Don't look her up before watching the show.
I was gonna say I'll post a link, but don't.
Yeah, don't look her up before watching the show because then you'll be like, "What?"
Yeah.
But it does only touch on
part of
her thing. It doesn't go into the stuff that after she got arrested and when she got out of jail and everything that happened after that. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm
saying
saying
do that.
They could go back, but they do tell you what happened afterwards.
Yeah. So maybe they're not gonna, but it's okay. So
did you know anything about any of this?
I had no idea.
Usually their head in the
what
sand
was happening in the 1970s and 80s and the cocaine.
I watch a lot of crime TV and documentaries about this stuff, so I know a lot of this information.
What do I know about the cocaine drug world of Miami, babe? Why would I know any of that?
Because you're Hispanic.
I guess so. It's my people.
It's people's business.
Anyway, so it's based, obviously, like we said, on the true life story of this lady who became this awesome Colombian drug lord at the time when there are no women drug lords. Yeah. I don't know if there are any now. I don't want to know. I didn't say anything. Don't come get me. But, typically the whole drug cartel thing is a guy dominated.
Well, and that was also still the time of women should be seen, not heard, and should be pretty and have kids and take care of their man, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that plays up a lot in the show. Even at the point where when she's starting to become powerful and do stuff, there's this one guy that's like, "Look, we know you're in charge. We know you're powerful, but let me be the spokesman because they're not going to listen to you." And I've heard that she's the one that actually kind of coined the popularity of the drive-by motorcycle drive-bys.
Yes.
For people.
Because she's not that she did it.
No, she didn't, but she would send people on the motorcycle drive-bys.
Yeah, she's like, "Go take care of this." You know what? I got to give it to her for some female empowerment. I obviously am not going to support the cocaine drug lord scene of Miami or the world, but you know what? She was actually a very smart woman. She really took charge. She wasn't going to let her husband or anybody else try to keep her down. So she's like, and got rid of that. The only problem was when she got on the crack, because we know crack is whack. But man, she was crazy.
Well, I think a lot of it, and we're strictly going by the story of the show.
Yeah, the real life story I think is even crazier.
Yeah, the real life story probably was way more violent, way more stuff. But with the show, one thing I will say is a lot of it was, I think Sofia Vergara was excellent in the show. I thought the show was actually really well done. It's dark, it's gritty, it's violent, and of course the show, so it takes liberties with certain things. So if you read the story and know the story of her, there are some things that are slightly different and that kind of thing, but that's normal. I think the aspect of the beginning of it was she wanted out of the business and had an opportunity to make some money to keep her out of the business and be able to start over, but kind of forced her back into everything constantly. Is kind of almost like that metaphorical story of people on drugs in general, as they try to get out of stuff and then something happens, it pulls them back into it. That addiction, and her addiction, even though yes, there started being a crack addiction at one point, I think her addiction was the power and the money at some point.
Money and the power.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to start saying minute after minute.
Please
after hour after. Okay. Anyways.
But I think it's very well handled. I think it's very, very good show.
It is. And they dropped the lawsuit, so that got settled.
So the lawsuit, there was a lawsuit from
you know what? That just probably brought more people to watch it.
But from my understanding, the lawsuit wasn't about, I thought the lawsuit was going to be about that they didn't tell the proper story or they lied about certain things or liberties. It sounds like it was more of a rights thing because they had pitched a book or a story at some point, and then supposedly then it got taken to someone else, and then they turned him down, but then somebody else did it, and they ended up making a show, and so they weren't getting the royalties they thought. And so it sounded like it got dropped or settled, if you will, which means somebody probably got paid and just said, look, let me put, because they didn't have any, the kids that were alive. Was it Michael Corleone?
Michael Corleone.
Blanco.
Oh, Lord.
It's Michael Corleone.
Corleone.
Like Corleone.
I don't care. But isn't that crazy they would name your kid?
After the Godfather.
I mean,
anyway, it's a great show. It's I think it's only like 6 or 8 episodes.
Yeah, it's a good show, actually. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed it.
I always love these things in the period pieces too. You see all the crazy clothes.
The 70s and the 80s.
The cars and
the disco.
Especially when you get into the rich era of that time period, and it's so tacky.
It was.
It's like you go to Graceland, it is just tacky.
It's a little tacky.
And it's just, you look at him like, why would somebody think
I was just wondering why people would still wear those silver high heel strappy shoes. Like, that's just with pantyhose. Like, why did we do that in the 70s and 80s? That's so gross.
I don't know.
I don't get it. Anyways, I think one of the things I enjoyed most was Sofia Vergara not having to worry about her accent. Like, you just sound the way you sound, and it was perfect because she's come out and said something like, you know, that the accent sometimes has held her back. Because she's like, I could be a rocket scientist, but you can't.
Yeah, she said that
she's
been here forever, and she talked about, you know, all these different Hispanic actresses that don't have accents. And then she's like, sometimes she thinks, like, am I just stupid that I can't get rid of accent?
No, you don't want to get rid of it.
So it's held her back on some things because she can't, they won't cast you because the sad way people look at an accent is if you have an accent, you're stupid.
No.
But that's not the case.
If you have an accent, you're actually smart because you have to learn a little language.
No, that's not necessarily the fact either. But you have an accent because you live somewhere else, not because your intelligence level is different.
It's true. You learned another language. Good.
Not necessarily because I know a lot of people with an accent, they can't speak for crap on either language.
Are you looking at me? Because I don't have an accent.
I'm looking at you, but
I don't have an accent. I tried to.
Anyway. Griselda, we don't really give you much about the show. There's some great moments.
I can't tell you too much. You got to watch it.
So if you like crime stuff, things like that, and women empowerment through violence and drugs.
Heck yeah, who doesn't want violence?
Griselda's available now on Netflix.
All right, I need to adjust my screen so I can click things here or not. Okay, next. Lord have mercy.
All right, the next is a movie I was actually kind of looking forward to. Theoretically, it's a holiday horror film, but it's really not a holiday horror film at all.
But it's during Christmas.
Yeah, it's only in time period alone. It's not really like Krampus or something like this. But it's a movie called A Creature Was Stirring. It's a new Well-Go release. It's just hit Blu-ray and DVD. And you can tell from the picture that we have up there. You do have the picture up, right?
I do have the picture up,
sure.
my love.
That there's some sort of a creature involvement. And it's got Chrissy Metz, who is known from This Is Us.
Yes.
Also Scout Taylor Compton. You may remember from, she's been in a ton of stuff, but mostly the Rob Zombie Halloween remake. She was the new Laurie Strode. And I don't know who the rest of people in the movie. But the effects of the movie were actually the effects of the movie were done by Tate Stasiak. Hopefully I said that right. But we know him, but we knew him from the TV show Face Off. The story is basically about this lady with her teenager, and there's teenager sick, or there's something wrong with her, and she's trying to take care of her, and they're snowed in during this snowstorm winter of Christmas. And then 2 random people show up that I guess they
technically break
into the house, but they supposedly were trying to get out of the cold because they're I don't know why they would think breaking into the house is a good idea and then be surprised somebody's there. But anyway, so then it turns into this whole weird thing of what's going on, and there's more happening here than they think, and who's involved, what's real, what's not real, you know, what is this thing trying to kill people? Is there in fact a creature stirring?
Yeah, so the mom is treating the daughter because she believes she could become a creature. I don't know what's happening. And I think that's kind of cool about the whole movie. You're like, what is going on? Because you know, the mom's checking the daughter, like, are you sick? Are you feeling okay? How do you feel? And she's like, why do you think? Because I'm angry, I'm going to turn evil. But then there's this one point where she does this cool voice, and the daughter's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh, shoot.
I will say that initially,
It had me. I was just like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
so I watched it before she did.
Yes.
And I left her wondering. I didn't tell her what I thought.
Yeah.
So she kept thinking the movie was going to be horrible because I was like, good luck. And I just walked away. But I do that on purpose, mostly just to torment her. At first, I was a little let down by the movie. And most of it boiled down to...
Was it the ending? The twist of the twist?
No. The ending, I thought, elevated the movie. I thought a little bit better. But no, my initial problems were too many people seemed to not be bothered by what was going on. But then is explained later. Too many things seemed to be happening at one time. So it felt like it was overlapping constantly. And there were so many things that made no sense that I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to go from this to this. But the ending kind of circles it all back and makes you make it make sense. So this is definitely one of those movies that you need to watch it to the end. Watch it.
And I think also you need to pay attention because there's some callbacks.
Yeah, it's kind of telling you throughout the whole thing what is happening.
But then also too, as things are revealed, I'm telling you, it's like not a twist, but a second twist and a third twist, and then you go back and you're like, what? And then it all brings it together, and I feel like we can't really say, but I feel like it's just an interesting story of sadness, remorse, guilt, even maybe the lingering effects of just depression, sadness, drug abuse. You can't get over something. You've never tried to even talk to anybody about it. And then you see that in the relationship of the mother and the daughter, because the daughter's trying to talk to her and she's like, well, tell me about this. And she's like, well, that was before you were born. She's like, yes, tell me. Like she wants to know and she wants to understand her, but neither one of them actually want to open up and share.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you're stuck in like this relationship that's not going anywhere, but they both actually, I think, love each other and they care about each other in a way. Because one's trying to do what she thinks is trying to help her. The other one's like, okay, let me placate you by doing this. But also, I can't be with you at the same time. It's one of those. It's like, I love you, but this is toxic. And it unfolds and unfolds. And I'm just like, whoa. It actually ended up being pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think what saves a lot of the issues that it has, and I'll tell you a few of the issues I have outside of what I'm saying, is the practical effects.
Oh, I liked it.
No, I'm not saying that's the issue. I'm saying that saves a lot of issues.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Now, there's some cheesy effects that...
There's that one thing I told you.
Yeah, that it does remind you of the Indiana Jones guy's face melting.
Yes.
For the time frame. But I honestly think that was done on purpose. I think it was meant to be old school.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the color palettes throughout the movie, it's a lot of red and green lights used in the room.
Lighting.
And it was annoying me for a while because I started feeling like it was overused. It became more psychedelic and almost like, look, don't forget it's Christmas. It's red. It's green.
But I think it was also...
It was setting a tone.
It was setting a tone for what was happening with everybody mentally and emotionally and even physically, like the reds. And
I think what it was really reminding me of, I don't know if you've ever seen Twilight Zone, the movie. It was reminding me of that. With those kind of color palettes. So that's not a bad thing. It was more of just what the heck, man, calm down with this, you know.
I also liked this girl. That's where I've seen her.
In what?
The redheaded girl, the daughter. She was in Oculus and she was in Ouija, and I just finished watching the Ouija movies. That's why I was like,
I enjoyed the movie for what it was. The practical effects. I love the creative use of the creature. I love that it didn't fully show the creature a lot. It was a lot of cutaways, angles. Even when they finally do show it, it still keeps a lot of mystery to it. I thought it was an interesting creative design, which this entire movie hinges on if the creature works.
Yeah.
And they really did some cool stuff with it, the way it moves. And
I loved it. I thought it was hilarious and fun. And I was like, oh.
And I think some of it is funny, unintentionally funny, but it's
not
just
funny, haha, but like,
no, but you're like, it's kind of, it's kind of stupid, but it works.
But it works. It makes sense. So then I'm wondering, how does that really work? Now I have
it
to
probably
ask
wasn't a person at that point. They probably built it on a thing. And
no. But I'm saying when you get the reveal of the twist.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did that actually? Well, I guess it doesn't matter because who knows.
Anyway, it's another movie we can't tell you a lot about.
Can't tell you, but you need to watch it.
But it is. Pay attention, enjoy it. If you like just a decent creature feature, it's worth checking out.
The story is really good, and it is impactful in the end. And I wish we could talk more about it, but you've got to watch it.
Yeah.
Where do I find it?
It's available now on the Blu-ray and DVD. from Well Go USA, and you can go to our website
HollywoodMatrimony.com
and win a copy of it.
Free stuff. Free stuff.
Free
Okay.
stuff, free stuff.
Here we go. Next.
All right.
Tell me about this movie.
All right. So this is a movie that came and went in the theater that nobody really ever heard about. I remember it coming out.
What happened?
I did an article about it. I was kind of excited just because I like some John Cena action. And it got dropped to theater. Nobody saw it, and it disappeared. It was kind of one of those just kind of got lost in the shuffle. It was a movie called Freelance with John Cena and Alison Brie and Christian Slater. It basically follows this ex-Special Forces guy who's now retired, works a desk after an event that occurred that he gets pulled in to do like a security detail, and insanity erupts. It's an action comedy kind of thing, not just straight up action. But I will say, I didn't get the comedy aspect as much as it felt like just kind of a straight up 80s style action flick with some humor.
Yes, I agree. I think
even though it's very much billed as an action comedy.
Yeah. I didn't
find it really hilarious.
It wasn't over the top hilarious.
It was okay.
I liked it. It was fine. I would watch it again. Give me some popcorn and watch it again. It's very by the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, good guy, bad guy, twist. Oh, another good guy, bad guy, and it's fine. I mean, I think I don't know if I want to say about their relationship, but I think I appreciate that. Yes,
it's pretty much like everyone where they hate each other and then they grow to like each other,
but I appreciate that we didn't go further than that.
Yeah, it bypassed the love story stuff.
Yes, which I appreciate because you don't always need that.
Yeah, they always crowbar that in. Yeah, it's one of those things where it is very much structured like any action flick you've ever seen. Like I said, it does feel very much 80s, 90s action, which I appreciate.
Yes. And he's good at that.
He is. It's got some decent action in it. Nothing that stands out. Although I will say the last act, there goes a long time with not any action, but the last act is nonstop.
Yeah.
Just gun shootouts. And not just him. There's a lot of other people involved. So it's one of those movies that's not a great movie, but it's not necessarily a bad movie.
It's not bad.
It's just one of those, hey, I want to watch a fun action flick. Here it is, So it's not. I can see why. I don't say I can see why it didn't do good at the box office because I don't think it got promoted.
I don't think it got enough marketing.
Yeah, I don't think it got promoted because I don't even know if you'd even heard of it.
I hadn't. I just knew it was a new movie on the line. I didn't know it went to the theater.
Yeah, no, it hit theater very, very
Yikes.
In and out.
Yikes.
Like sometimes like the best way, in and out.
Hey.
But I was excited when it hit Hulu because we're like, oh, finally, I wanted to watch this. And there was a couple times I'd planned to go see it at the theater, and I just never got around to it, like apparently most everybody else. So it's worth checking out, especially to watch at home on Hulu.
It's super fun.
If you like John Cena, if you like Alison Brie,
I like him.
He
seems like a very nice man.
He is, and I like Alison Brie from Community, and I know she's done way more than that since then. And so she's been kind of coming to her own. I think she fits good. I love me some Christian Slater. So we didn't get enough of him in the movie, but at least he's there. And yeah, so it is what it is.
Check it out.
Yeah, check out Freelance. It's on Hulu now. So if you already paid for Hulu, you've already paid for Freelance, might as well watch it.
Watch it. All right.
Moving on.
We're here now.
Oh, yeah.
A Peacock original.
One I didn't think she was going to want to watch because this isn't really her vibe, but she did watch it. So it's Peacock original. It's Kings from Queens, the Run DMC story. It's a 3-part docuseries following the rise of their career up until present day. They weren't the first to do the rap, but they are the ones that made rap more mainstream. A lot of other things that happened in their career. So let me ask you this. I know you know some of their music.
Yes.
But did you know anything about Run DMC outside of My Adidas and It's Tricky and that kind of stuff?
Adidas. No, I didn't know the history of how they came together, the original guy and the new guy.
What do you mean new guy? There's not a new guy.
Well, there was that one guy they wanted who went to some, and then he couldn't go on the road because he wanted to work for the post office. Remember?
Yeah. Because he's like, that's not gonna. This may not work. There's an omnibus comic book out called oh my god. History of Hip Hop. I just went stupid blank. I just freaking read it.
That big book you had in there.
Yeah. if you want a really good
I'll probably read it.
history lesson on hip hop, period.
Yes.
That is the book to go to.
Well, I did learn a lot about this because the only thing I know about them was we watched that Rev Run series, him and his family.
Yeah.
That was on for.
But that was way after the Run DMC.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not him now. So yeah, it was actually really interesting to see and how they were kind of the first to take more of a rock vibe when they're sampling to put into their music, and everybody else was doing like older school beats or jazzy beats or whatever. Not the guy jazzy beats.
Hip Hop Family Tree.
There you go.
But I believe it's currently 40% off on Amazon, but it's a collection of artist Ed Piskor. It's a big book, and it's essentially just the history of hip hop, up only to a certain era, but it talks about Run DMC, but it shows
hippity hop.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So I thought it was interesting, just to be able to learn a little bit. You must learn their history and where they came from and what it all meant. And I'm gonna post a link to the family tree. I found it interesting because I don't know a lot of these people and be like, I'm learning.
And I'm just the opposite of watching it.
I know.
Like I'm fully embedded, but Run DMC was the very first hip hop album I ever got. The Raising Hell album. No, it was my second. That was I take it back. That was my first full album. My first song that I really got into was LL Cool J's "I'm Bad." And Houdini's 5 Minutes of Funk and Freaks Come Out at Night. But Raising Hell was the first cassette I think I actually bought and fell in love with the whole genre, and I've been in love with it ever since.
What was the first cassette? Sorry?
Raising Hell, okay. Run DMC.
I'm going to go find it.
I remember it's like either a purple or green cover. They're all kind of standing there. I think I still have the cassette. I still have most of my cassettes.
Run DMC studio album.
You looking it up?
Yep. Okay. What year was this? 1986. Wow.
So I've been a hip hop head ever since.
My first cassette was the Bangles, "Walk Like an Egyptian." That's by the time I had money to buy.
But ironically, much like a lot of the black fans, if you want to talk about that. That was my first introduction to Aerosmith as well.
Oh,
I didn't know who Aerosmith was when that song came out and the video came out. And of course, Aerosmith's career was all but over at that point.
They had a good career, though.
No, they had a good career, but that was kind of they had been kind of down. That song revitalized them and made them more the Aerosmith they are now. Yeah. Not that they may not have made the comeback, but they had already, they had the thing with the 60s and 70s or 70s where it was. Yeah. So they were huge, and then like a lot of bands, they were kind of obscure at that point. And that song pulled them back to the forefront and kind of exploded everybody at the same time.
I think they had already finished the hippie era and the run of all that.
He had kind of a blues era, I believe, too.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so I learned a lot of stuff growing up through the hip hop stuff. And so getting to see this, it was, for me, sure there were certain things that I learned that I didn't know because we didn't have the internet back then. I've read a lot of it since then, but it was interesting to hear their own takes on their lives and
their side of the story.
Like I've read stuff about their influences, but when you hear them explain certain things, it's got more impact to it, and and really delving into the death of Jam Master Jay and all the stuff that I knew about but didn't know some of the elements of it. But it's also kind of taking me down memory lane of like, oh my God, I remember when this came out. Oh, I remember this story. Oh, I remember where I was at. Oh, I remember MTV. It's all those kind of things that I kind of lived through. And I lived through it in an era where I was by myself living through it. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of friends that were into hip hop. And so my best friend, I got him into some certain songs, but he wasn't his thing. We jokingly would sing certain songs that we thought were hilarious or awesome or cool. And like even one of them popped up on my playlist the other day, and I texted him, hey, such and such popped up, and he's like, oh my God, that's hilarious. To him, that's our childhood. To me, that's still now.
Yeah,
because I still listen to it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's a great, great, great documentary about the three icons and where they're at, what they've done. And I think even if you're not a fan of hip hop, it's an important music documentary because they did a lot for music in general in the industry as opposed to just rap.
Correct. That's what I would say.
Okay, then.
That's all. I mean, I'm not as into it as you
I
are.
know.
You know all the story, but I did learn some things. So there you go. It is actually really interesting.
And thank you for watching it, because I know you probably didn't initially care that much about watching
No, but I thought it was interesting, like I said, how they took the rock sampling more than anyone else. Everybody was still doing jazz or whatever as their samples.
Well, it was also
they're
back
like,
then.
that's some guitar riffs.
Back then, it was a lot of like most hip hop was just you did the drum beat, the drum machine. You didn't use real instruments, and other than the jazz samples and things like that. But anyway, The Kings from Queens, the Run DMC story is available now on Peacock. Check it out.
Okay, next.
What's next?
Yeah, tell me about this movie. I didn't get to see this.
All right.
Tell me about Madam Webb with Dakota Johnson.
All right, where do I start? All right.
I can tell you where I start.
Okay, nobody wants to hear you.
I don't really care for Dakota Johnson. I'm sure she's lovely. I don't care for her stuff. So
I think she's a good actress, but she's not one that I don't think she ever blown me away in anything she's done. But like, I can't stand the 50 Shades of Grey movies, but those aren't always her. That's just her problem. Those whole movies are trash. She's done some stuff that I like she's great in, Peanut Butter Falcon and some other things. But I will say, well, first, Madam Webb is about this character, Madam Webb, who is, I don't remember how to describe it. I believe she's like a clairvoyant. She sees the future.
Is this the Spider-Verse?
She is part of the Spider-Man universe. And that's one of the big issues I have. Is this a character that first of all, shouldn't have its own movie. That's problem one. This is another case of Sony is trying to build out their Spider-Verse characters, like with Venom and Morbius and their Craven movie coming out and things like this, where Venom movies I enjoy. Morbius, I didn't hate it as much as other people did, but there's some major problems with it. Craven looks good, but it looks like they changed the story again. We'll see what happens. But this is a kind of a backup character. It's a character that has showed up in Spider-Man. It's been around for a long time, but not one that I'm like, why am I seeing a movie about Madam Web? What is this? Whose idea was this? Now, if you see the trailer, you also get to see three young ladies who are various versions of Spider-Woman, right? That context, like, okay, Sony doesn't have Spider-Man in their stories. So they're building this universe to now create Spider characters in their universe, right?
That they can get.
They can use that, and they can also use Miles because like, they still own the rights to Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
They just don't use them because they've allowed him to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they still own the rights to Spider-Man. So it's
so confusing.
The Venoms and all these others are looked at as like one of those different timelines, if you will.
I gotcha.
That's why when you see Venom make an appearance in,
you don't have to sing Venom.
No, would make an appearance at the end of his movie, and then at the end of the Spider-Man movie, you get that multiverse thing. That's how they connect to that. They're like, oh, okay, that's why we've explained Venom, because Venom's story is all based around Spider-Man, and so when they made a movie with no Spider-Man, you can't have the Venom story. So they changed the story, and it's fine. Madam Web is kind of the similar thing, but originally they were supposed to have, from what I've read, I don't know if this is factual, they wanted to have, I believe, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in this movie and make it part of that timeline.
Okay.
Like they did with the other one. There's different Spider-Mans. They all exist in a different timeline now.
Right.
And I believe some reason either he didn't want to do it, it didn't work out. They changed it along the way. So they bring in this character, Ezekiel something or other, I forgot his name, who is an actual comic character who had some of the Spider-Man's powers through different engineering or whatever, but he was a villain type. So what they did is they brought this character in and changed the way he looked, put him in kind of a Spider-Man suit, like a dark Spider-Man suit. I don't believe that character ever wore that. I think he was just like a normal man. But that gave him that vibe of a Spider-Man-esque character who's a villain. There's so many things wrong with this movie. I didn't hate this movie like the rest of the world apparently did.
Do you think if you didn't know anything about the comics like me, you might enjoy it more?
No.
Oh, okay. That's an honest review.
No,
so you can't always say good things about every movie because there's some things you just don't like.
Here's the thing is, again, I didn't hate this movie, and I can see kind of guilty pleasure enjoying it. You know, especially if they actually
Like
build
50
it.
Shades of Grey. That's me.
Oh, you like that now?
They're not great.
They're not good at all.
But if they're on, I'll watch it.
Since when? You hated it as much
I've
as I
watched
did.
it. I've watched the whole series of
You
them.
hate her. Why would you even rewatch that?
Because I want her to beat the crap out of him. I want him to like beat her to death.
We're gonna have to rediscuss our relationship. But no, there's multiple layers. Like this is one of those things that if they build it out in the way that they're trying to, which is clearly not going to happen since the movie bombed, I think it could have potential to build their universe they're trying to build. They're just building it the wrong way, and that's the problem. First of all, I applaud them for trying to make some of these popular or obscure characters and give them a platform.
Because typically you like the obscure characters.
I do. I hate Madam Web, period. Even in the comics. But I would have preferred, I think it would have been a way more interesting movie had they given us the original Madam Web. The original Madam Web looks like Judi Dench, or not Judi Dench, Helen Mirren, or somebody like of that age, an old one, white hair, looks like Aunt May level, and she wears like this skin tight, like red dress with a spider thing, and she's blind with a thing on her face, and sits on this throne and whatever. She looks cool, but she's the kind of character that's like a character you meet in the middle of a story, or she's the main bad guy, or she's this, and she's gone between villain and hero in the comics and stuff. But every time she shows up in the comics, I'm like, I don't care, because I just don't ever find her that interesting. So to get an origin story about Madam Web, I already was not overly excited. Even though I don't dislike Dakota Johnson the way you do, even though you apparently are watching more Dakota Johnson stuff under the radar, not telling me.
No, it's just that series. I've watched the whole series.
I think she's horribly miscast in this movie. She's just not good in this movie, and it's not even her performance necessarily. It's like her character is standoffish. She's very drone. She feels like she's walking through it. It almost feels like she took the role and decided she didn't want the role. That's kind of the vibe I got. Like she doesn't care anything about the movie. It could be the way she's trying to portray the character, because the character is very standoffish and a little lost and confused and angry, and but at some point you have to have something that connects you to that character, and I never got that. And then when you finally get a little bit of it at the end, it's a little like that, too little too late. The three girls I actually enjoyed, even though their story is kind of crazy. It's three teenage girls that don't know anything, that bicker, and they're not necessarily friends. Now the girl with the glasses, trying to buy into her being as young as she's supposed to be in the movie. That's the girl from that movie that just came out, that where the two are trying to pretend like they're in a relationship and they're not. That you're like,
which one? It's either this
Sydney
one or
Sweeney.
this one. Oh, I don't like her.
But that's fine. But I'm saying she's the girl from that other movie. So I'm trying now in this movie, I'm trying to believe she's a teenager. And all they did was put her in like a schoolgirl outfit with glasses. And I'm watching. I'm like, I just saw a trailer with you in half naked bikini, and you were an adult woman, and so it's that little things. But I will tell you, this is not really a spoiler. In the trailer, you see the three girls as the Spider Women, so you get excited. It's barely in the movie. And I found it interesting. It's there, but it's more for world building. So I think a lot of people that might watch this with excitement to say, oh, I want to see these different, because you have a white young lady, a Hispanic young lady, and an African-American lady, all different spider chicks. The one is the girl that's Dora.
Oh, I like her.
And I like all three of them, but they're not in the movie portrayed the way the trailer's leading you to believe. So that was a little bit of a letdown, but also kind of refreshing, because I'm like, okay, cool, we're seeing something that could potentially be something later. The guy that plays the villain, plays Ezekiel, he's another one. It just does not fit. He's just, every time he's on screen, I was just annoyed by him, and not because his acting is bad. It's just like there was nothing menacing about him. There was nothing that I cared about. And the connection when he's in the spider suit, that part's cool.
Is it even him in the spider suit?
I doubt it, but I have no idea. Because he doesn't talk in his suit. He's running around fighting and killing things. But then you see him again, I'm just like, oh, this guy again. The movie's just not great.
That's too bad.
Like I said, it's one that I didn't hate. It was one of those that I came out of like, well, that exists. I didn't hate it, but I didn't necessarily like it either. That's what I've been telling most people that either post about it or ask me. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't necessarily like it either. So If you want to go see it at your own risk. I would say wait for it to come out on video or somewhere you can watch it for free.
It's only got a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it didn't do good at all. It didn't even do good at the box office.
Yikes.
I don't even know if it made $20 million this weekend.
Yikes.
And it opened on Valentine's Day, so it had all weekend.
That was date night potential, and it just didn't hit.
So anyway,
didn't click. That's too bad.
And the ending of it does offer up a thing of trying to talk about the future of what it could be doing, but clearly with its lack of success, I doubt we're going to see any Madam Web again. I'm not actually upset about that. I think Madam Web would have worked better in the Spider-Verse animated stuff.
Because that's where who is this? This is Marvel?
Well, it's Marvel, but Sony does these. Oh. They did those movies too. I think they should just build out their animated universe.
Because the animated features, well, the other one has a better animated feature.
No, but I'm talking about Sony put out the 2 Spider-Verse movies. Yeah, they're so set on trying to build their Spider-Verse. Do it with the animated stuff. They've so much success with the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. They work, and they've already created all these characters.
So good.
Why not do a Spider-Gwen movie? Do a Spider-Man movie. Then you got Miles Morales, but they're all in the same universe. Then you can bring in Madam Web. You can bring
I want to see the
Kraven
the
and Morbius
Indian Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I'm saying you have so many characters.
There's so many they
introduced, and you can still bring in Kraven the Hunter and Morbius and Madam Web and Venom and put them in these stories.
Yeah.
You know, and Spider-Man 2099, who has all these same villains but in different versions. And stop with the live action ones if you're not going to build it the way it's going to be built, or just let it happen.
Yeah.
They're trying too hard. And I'm not against them like a lot of people are. Yeah. I like the 2 Venom movies. I'm looking forward to Kraven. I thought the trailer looked awesome, even though it didn't look like Kraven. I thought it looked like a good action movie. Yeah. I think they're missing their opportunity that they have, which is take their 2 most successful Spider-Man movies that they have
and build it out
and build on it.
Yeah.
Because people will watch that. They'll watch the crap out of that. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to worry about, well, this is not the same Spider-Man from Marvel Cinematic, because nobody would care.
Yeah.
It'd be a separate thing.
Well, because there's so many in the different universe.
Well, but I'm saying they don't need Tom Holland to play Spider-Man.
Correct.
You know, Jake Johnson can still play Spider-Man over here, and everybody be happy with it. And they're so set on building this Sinister Six movie that they announced after Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then it got canceled. That's what they seem to be building towards again. They're trying to bring the Sinister Six again, and all I can assume is they're going to bring these Spider people to fight the Sinister Six because they don't have Spider-Man. They do. They can make Spider-Man. They can do whatever they want. They own him, or at least the rights to him. But I don't know. Madam Web's in theaters. Watch it. Don't watch it. If you're like me and just love all things comic books, then I would say go see it so you can decide for yourself. I was excited to watch it, even though I knew it probably wasn't going to work, because I love watching anything comic book related. I'm not the hater that's like, oh, you know, I'll watch it, but at the end of the day, it was still what it is. The end.
That's too bad. All right. Next, we got one more.
And the big hit.
Yeah, this one won the box office, I believe, and it did open on Valentine's Day. One Love.
It's called Bob Marley.
Bob Marley, One Love.
And it's had some backlash as well.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
It's a story. It's another one of those biopics that they've done this in the past on some other ones, and I kind of dig it, which I know a lot of people get angry about it. It's just not the life story of Bob Marley. It's a period of his life.
Yeah, it's just a small section
where he's already kind of into the political climate of trying to bring peace to Jamaica and different things, and his career exploding even more. His big European tour thing that he's doing, the violence he deals with. But they do take some time to flash back and forth. But it's really more about his relationship with his wife than his life in that. And I think the story as a whole is really, it's a 2-part story. It's a story of him and his career, of that concerts and stuff he's dealing with, and him and his relationship with his wife. And she's just as important in this story as he is.
Yes, absolutely. So, if you don't know, the movie is based on the life of Bob Marley, who was, I don't know if he's the most famous reggae musician of his time.
I'm pretty sure he is. Probably still the most famous one ever.
Yeah, I mean, and now his child is too. He's
Ziggy.
Ziggy. And I did appreciate, so we went to a special screening, and his son, like, hello, I'm Ziggy Marley. Like, he involved in the making of the movie. So
Yeah,
that
he's been
makes
doing
me
all the
feel better.
press and everything too about it.
So, yeah.
That's why it always cracks me up. I don't understand when people get mad about stuff, but then you see the creator or the family member or somebody that's involved. Why would you think they did something wrong if that person approved it? You know, because everybody thinks they know more than they actually know.
So this, like you said, is during a small period of time. There's political unrest in Jamaica. Somebody puts out, I guess, a hit on him or who knows what. They attack him and his family. He's shot. His wife is shot. So they decide it's time to leave Jamaica for a while. And that's when you said we end up in London. He wants to create like a whole new sound and do something different. Of course, all of his songs still have the message, and they had a lot of really good music. Like I was feeling the vibe, and I was singing some songs, and the lady behind me was singing, and we were just like all into it. But I, of course, like I told you going into it, I don't know anything about the man. I just know like 5 or 6 songs that I really like.
Yeah.
And I learned some stuff. And, you know, I think when you learn about the lives of people, you realize the most important thing is they're people just like us. We are all flawed human beings. And there's this one very just emotional, heartbreaking scene with his wife. And did you hear the audience was like, oh, when she said about, I've been taking care of you and this and this. And everybody's like, oh.
Which I expected that. Drama. Not because I remember that
because
history.
I had seen it. Yeah, if you pay attention.
Yeah, you see these little things that are insinuating something. And I always appreciate that too, especially when the family's involved.
They're not hiding.
Yeah, they didn't try to sugarcoat it. Let's just tell you the good things about Bob Marley. Like pointing out the problems because this person was involved in that. Yeah. They were there at that time and saying, no, this is my dad did this. Yeah. You know, and this is what happened, and this is the good and the bad. And then
nobody even mentioned I think they made one remark about all the weed he was smoking, but I mean. They're like, is it true you smoke a pound of weed a day? I'm like, I don't know, dude.
He goes, but I like these like a pound.
Because they were smoking all the time. It was the vibe. It's the whole vibe.
I know some people were complaining. They were like, oh, those dreadlocks look so fake and uncomfortable. And I didn't get any of that. And then I know there was some complaint, and I can understand it from a standpoint of like your issue of understanding them. Because
I had a difficult time understanding the accent. I think I'm really good with accents, but
the Rastafarian accent and stuff, and I apologize if that's not the proper term, is pretty strong. It's sometimes hard to understand.
It was hard for me to understand.
And I saw one review talked about it, and they were like, you could clearly talk about here. They were talking about it from a place of, well, I just couldn't understand them, and I think it hurt the film. They shouldn't have been talking that deep in that. And
well, how did you expect them to speak? That's what they said.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think they expected them to tone it down so that the audience could understand them better. I didn't have a problem understanding. My issue was just my normal hearing, but when I can hear them, I can understand everything from them. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's because of my history. Because there's a lot of, I don't know if you even caught on to it, but I think we were listening to an NWA song, Always Into Something, and there's a reggae guy on it. Yeah. And I know all the words of that part of the song too. So I think
you understood it a little more than me.
Yeah. Plus, my uncle gave me a Bob Marley and the Wailers cassette when I was a kid, and I never liked it. I hated it, but I didn't appreciate it at the time because I was like, I like hip hop. This is not there's this crap. Mm. And he was trying to expand my mind of my uncles. Both my uncles were blues guys. And they were trying to give me musical culture.
Yes,
especially
which was
him.
Appreciated.
I just never appreciated it at the time.
Yeah. So,
mind you, he messaged me about them playing again.
Oh, okay.
I guess the band's back together.
It. Oh, they got back. Oh, let's go watch it. Anyways, I really enjoyed the film. I enjoyed learning about something new culture. I did struggle with the accent and the language, but
yours was just about. I don't understand what they're saying. You weren't like angry about not understanding it.
No, I was just like, man, the accent is very. I always call it rich. It was very rich, and it was difficult for me to understand.
And they talk out of order sometimes.
Yes, and they speak Yoda backwards, and like they are.
Which to me, massive props to Kingsley Ben-Adir, who pulled that off. Who's very English.
I was gonna say he's British, right?
Yes, he's British, and to pull off, he did not sound British in any shape or form.
No, I thought they did a great job.
And Lashana Lynch as well.
Yeah. I, I, don't,
I don't remember if I think she's British as well.
Man, I think she is. Yeah, she's a British actress. Yeah, so for them to be able to get the accent, because it sounded, from what I can tell, obviously I don't know, I'm not from Jamaica, but it sounded very authentic. And I think the kids would have said something if it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, whew.
I think my favorite line of the
Yours
whole movie
was you can't hear. Mine was I couldn't get the accent. So I'm just like, I'm really trying to tune in to
when I
flow.
started watching you a couple times, I saw I don't even know if you know you did this, but he would start talking. I would look at you. Sometimes I have to lean over and ask you, what did they just say?
I didn't know.
And I look at you and you're like,
I'm just like,
and I'm like, she doesn't understand their accent.
I didn't.
And so I'm like, so I can't ask her what they're saying.
At one point, I'm like, I'm having trouble understanding what they're saying.
That's funny. Is I thought that before you told me that. When you told me that, I was inside. I was cracking up. I was like, see.
And you were like, oh, I listened to reggae before. I'm like, oh my God, good for you, because I didn't. All I know is every little thing is going on. Because when they don't sing it, it's not as bad. When people sing, accents are not. And I always think I'm good with accents because I grew up with people who have accents, but this one got me. So I need to obviously spend,
I don't
you know
care
what? We obviously need to go to Jamaica.
I know that the reviews have been mixed across the board. I think a lot of critics is one of those times that I think the critic reviews have been better than the audience reviews.
Oh, really?
Which is usually just the opposite.
It's opposite normally.
But yeah. I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought it was a good representation of that time. I thought everybody did a fantastic job. I thought it was structured well. I thought it touched on some very important things of both his health, his relationships, his dedication as a Rastafarism, his dedication to peace and his message. Also seeing how he developed some of the music. I think one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, which isn't even a very impactful line, is he's playing the song at the end. What is the song he's playing by the campfire? Is that the One Love song?
He was.
And when she asked him, when did you write that one?
He's like all my life. My whole life. I was like,
and I'm like, that's the impact of that song, because a lot of people are so ingrained by that everything they saw impacted what that musical thing they're writing.
Yeah.
But the answers are usually, it took me like 30, 45 minutes or 4 days to write this, whatever it was. I thought the movie was fantastic. I liked it too. I'm glad it's doing well. I really enjoyed it. Especially this doesn't seem like a movie that I thought anybody was going to care about.
Yes.
And maybe this is my just being naive. But I remember seeing the first trailer for this, and I'm like, I can't wait to see this. It's going to be interesting. And then I'm like, nobody's going to watch this movie.
Really? But so many people love Bob Marley.
I think they
like the music. They may not have known all
this. This is my naive mentality sometimes of thinking, because the countries and stuff are so fractured in race and religion and beliefs, that my instinct is like, nobody's going to care about him. They should.
Yeah,
because he was the
message is still needed
today.
Yes,
he's way more important than just his music or just being a pothead or whatever you want to classify. There was so much more there, and his music is still a battle cry for peace and love.
Yes,
to this
we
day.
Need it.
And made me so happy, not only that it beat Madam Webb, but that it made money that nobody thought it was going to make.
Yeah,
it wasn't an insane massive hit, but it's still going to probably cross $100 million, which. These kind of movies don't make that kind of movie a lot.
It's already at 80.
Yeah, biopics don't always do that great, Yeah. And I love a good musical biopic if it's done well.
Yeah, and I appreciate. I think too for his family and his son, to be involved, to see it be a success, that people do. This man who
I read a thing.
Very instrumental. When you get to the end, I was like, because I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, because they showed some actual footage.
Oh my gosh, it's impactful. We need the love right now. We need the love.
And I'm glad they didn't go all the way back to his childhood through the whole movie, because I don't think any of it was necessary.
Yeah.
Because I think it was just initially him singing. You get a couple of snippets, but
and I appreciate that they're like, okay, we're in this time period. He's already been famous for this long, blah blah. Go.
Yeah, because it's interesting. It shows him at the beginning with his mom.
Yes.
And kind of their beliefs and kind of something that's happening with them. And then it cuts to the dialogue on screen, and then we're where we're at now.
Yeah, but then throughout, while he's thinking or writing or remember, like we flash back to things of his childhood that are so impactful, about his father, and he didn't really know his father, and so that has.
Yeah, it was interesting too. There's this ongoing thing that reminded me of Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, where he kept having the dream
that
about
one memory,
the soldiers that are coming to kill him, and it's like that weird thing. This one's like a burning field and a man on a horse. And then when you finally realize who that man on the horse is and stuff, it's like a whole different thought of what you thought was happening.
Well, and I feel like it was one of those things where he was really trying to remember what it really, because as a child, when you're a child, you remember things and you make up maybe what you thought it was. And then the revelation finally presents itself.
The peace and the violence and the chaos and everything in between. But that whole metaphor of what that memory was then further cemented his message and his music.
Yeah.
So I love this movie. I thought it was great.
It was really good.
I didn't have one love. I had multiple loves for this movie.
I had a lot of love, and I was jamming.
And again, just like the Run DMC thing, doesn't matter if you like his music or not. I think it's an important story, and I think it's one you should check out.
Yeah.
One Love, Bob Marley, One Love is in theaters now.
I'm all like,
and everything's going to be all right.
Everything is going to be all right. All right, babe, over to you.
I didn't shoot the sheriff, though.
But I did not shoot the deputy. Or did he shoot the deputy?
He shot the sheriff, but he did not shoot him.
Okay.
We're talking about giveaways. Is that where we're at?
Yes.
Or no, we're talking about what's coming out new.
Oh,
right?
What's coming out?
This week's another week of old stuff. Not a lot of brand new. It doesn't appear. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is getting the 4K treatment, as well as the Beverly Hills Cop 3 movie collection 4Ks. Darkman is getting the 4K treatment. You don't know Darkman, it's Sam Raimi directed with Liam Neeson and Frances McDormand, and I forgot the guy that played Dr. Giggles. I forgot his name. It's kind of it. Like Paprika, the anime, is getting a 4K release. Heroic Trio and Executioners with some martial arts stuff is coming out. So that's kind of it on the big stuff. Kind of small. Right. I think February itself looks like it's kind of small for releases. Yeah.
So coming out this week on the line or in theaters. So coming out on Thursday to Netflix is a new Avatar Last Airbender series. It's a live action series. It actually looks good. I feel like it's kind of live action. It says it's animated, but I watched the trailer. But it's live action with some.
It's a live action show. It's not animated at all. It's like CGI. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking. But it is live action. So it's a new series on Netflix. Coming out on Friday in the theaters, the movie Ordinary Angels, which we will be talking about. There's a snowstorm in Kentucky, and a mother, Hilary Swank, is struggling, and the entire community comes together, and we'll see what happens. It's supposed to be inspirational. Also coming to theaters, the movie Drive Away Dolls. This one looks hilarious. This is one where the girls are like, let's go on a road trip, and they go rent a car. Well, the car they rented belongs to some criminals who had some drugs or money in the trunk, and they're chasing them around the country. So it looks fun.
Yeah.
On video, demand, and digital on Friday is a movie called The Bad Shepherd. A group of friends go hunting, and they accidentally kill someone, and craziness ensues.
Usually what happens.
Yeah. Also coming to Netflix on Friday, a movie called Mea Culpa. This is the one starring Kelly Rowland, where she's defending this guy who is accused of killing, I guess, his girlfriend, but she gets involved with the guy, which you never do if you're the attorney. And then it takes a crazy turn because, of course, did he do it? Did he not? But now he's everywhere she looks. He's there. It's kind of creepy. I saw the, oh, this is one for you. On coming to Shudder, a new movie on Shudder. So you know it's going to be a horror movie. History of Evil. Okay. It's this family who's on the run, and they go to what they think is a safe house, not that realizing that the safe house has an evil past. Bomb, 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 crazy murder house.
It usually does.
So that looks fun. Coming out to Hulu, a movie called Sacred Soil, the Piney Woods School Story. It's a new documentary of the Piney Woods School, which is the oldest Black boarding school in America. And it talks about just what happened to these people emotionally, physically, mentally, to these young Black students. Seems interesting. Video, demand, and digital. Red Right Hand. I can't say that. Red Right Hand, starring Orlando Bloom.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about this. I've been sitting
who's just there trying to live his life, taking care of his niece. But suddenly, the kingpin of the Appalachia. I gotta say it right. But this is my thing. We're supposed to believe that Andie MacDowell is the female kingpin running the area called the Big Cat. So, don't know. Orlando Bloom fighting Andy McDowell? We'll find out. Coming to Netflix, Through My Window, Looking at You. It's these people who met and then they lost communication and they meet up again in Barcelona to see if they can, just unexpectedly, and they decide to try to make the love work. Coming out next Sunday, because maybe before we talk to you, to AMC Plus, the new Walking Dead series, The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, the new series. And based on this, Andrew Lincoln's in it, so I don't know what time period.
This is the okay, yeah. I didn't know that was already happening.
Series. Another
spinoff.
Series
or is a movie?
It says it's a series.
Originally it was announced as a movie. So this is the one about
The Ones Who Live. New spinoff.
I know it's about Rick and Michonne.
Okay.
So it's after, because the other show's over, the main one.
I didn't finish it.
Yeah, I finished. I got to season 9.
But was there another spinoff?
There's been numerous spinoffs.
Okay.
There's one that has. Well, there was the one with the kids that were these new kids that were born during the time period. Then there was that one show that was the Fear the Walking Dead.
Right.
That happened at the beginning of it. And then there was one that was a spinoff with Daryl.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's one with Maggie, but I don't know if that one came out yet. Anyway, this one takes place after The Walking Dead and Michonne and Rick, and they were originally going to do a movie, but
The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, Walking Dead, Dead City. I don't know if that's even a real one or a comic. Walking Dead, World Beyond.
That's the one with the kids that were born.
Okay, and then this is Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live.
Yeah.
Lord, I've not seen.
I saw the middle of season 9 only because we moved and changed stuff, and then we didn't have AMC anymore, and so I couldn't watch it. I have all the seasons and everything; they're all on Netflix. And
okay, I'll go watch.
I need to go pick up where I left off. I keep meaning to finish it.
Stressful.
Such
a stressful show. Anyways, that's what's happening over here. Tell me about the contest.
All right, so we still have some giveaways. A couple of them are fixing to end. The digital copy stuff is about to end, but we have copies of Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 1. So
really good. Oh my gosh, I was crying, and I'm now quoting Batman. I put it on my page at work, like as my quote. It's Batman when he's like, there is value in different points of view and teamwork. Because that is so not a Batman thing. But when you watch this, oh my gosh, you'll see.
What about your feelings don't change facts?
Is that a Batman quote?
No.
Oh. But is that your quote?
No, that's not my quote either. Somebody else's.
I'm just saying there's.
But it is a thing that time period now is everybody's feelings, they're all up in arms, and you're wrong because I feel this way doesn't change the facts.
I mean, I'm just saying it's so impactful from Batman because Batman's a loner. He don't want to have anything to do with anyone. His emotions have been.
Batman has not been a loner in decades between all the 7 million Bat Universe characters.
Doesn't matter.
Now.
He is shut off because of what happened to his parents. He's traumatized. But now to be able to work with the Justice League.
We wouldn't be here. Batman would just go see a counselor.
And be like, you know what? There is value.
Anyway,
in different points
we still have a couple of digital copies of the Marvels left. I know the movie gets a lot of
hate.
I
enjoyed it. I've already watched it again.
I think it's a fun movie.
Like a second time.
I watched did you watch the making of thing?
I did not.
It's actually really cool.
Okay, I'm going to go watch it.
Hearing them put together. We got copies of The Flying Swordsman, as well as one of my favorites from last year, The Holdovers, which you still haven't seen yet. Love that movie.
Except for Best Picture.
It is. And Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and I believe, I don't remember if the young kid's nominated in this one. He was nominated for Best Newcomer. But anyway, everything about it. Best Director, everything else. We have a couple of digital copies of Wish left. And then, of course, the movie we talked about today, A Creature Was Stirring. We already have, I think, 2 new ones that are going to be going up this week. So the 2 digital copy things will be ending this week, Wish and the Marvels. So just letting you know. Right. So get your entries in ASAP.
Okay. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you go to the website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Click the contest button for the free stuff. Make sure you go like, share, subscribe. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Hive, and Blue Sky. Go like, share, thumbs up, send bubbles, send money, send help. I'm giving the 2 weeks. Send help. Just kidding.
And believe totally not related, but I would like to know it. Name one movie that you're really looking forward to this year, or do you even know what's coming out?
I have no idea what's coming out.
Don't look anything up. Don't look anything up.
Well, how am I supposed to know what's coming out
First
in
of all,
2024?
I just wanted to point out something. I'm very offended. She goes to look stuff up, but she doesn't look at our website. She goes on the main thing.
I go to Google.
Our website has a whole bunch of new stuff coming out.
Does it?
Yes, I put articles there. What do you think I do
The
all day?
new movie with Scott Adkins.
What movie is that?
I have no idea, but I know we're gonna watch it.
He has a bunch of movies coming out. We still haven't watched One More Shot.
What's that?
I said, well, remember they shot the whole thing supposedly in one shot?
Oh.
They did a sequel.
Well, babe, how do I know what's coming out this year?
Because I show you
King Kong, Godzilla.
I show you trailers all the time.
That's what I want to watch. King Kong, Godzilla.
I'm really looking forward to the new Planet of the Apes movie.
It looks so creepy with them
It is,
talking. Too creepy.
Anyway, I'll be interested to see what they do with more Deadpool and Wolverine.
That'll be fun. I just think it'll be funny.
So, all right.
That's all.
See everybody next time.
Bye.
Peace out, dog.